Hey friends, Laura the Explorer here asking core human questions. Today we are going to talk about social media. Social media is a great thing. I personally love it. Some people aren't on it, but I think that it allows me to connect with new people, to share new ideas, to see what other people are up to, and to be inspired. But we all know that there is a dark side to social media. I don't have to tell you about the statistics about how addicting social media is. So there are constantly these positives and these negatives to social media. Today, I would like to argue that you don't have to quit social media, but you should take a break from social media. And the reason I think you should take a break from social media is because when you invest in other people's stories and you're consuming their information, their stories, their way of being, you aren't spending time on your own. You are going to a default message that they have decided for you about how to live your life. Sometimes that can be good because these people can teach you things about how you want to live your life and give you tools to do that. Sometimes social media is pure entertainment, so I don't really know what benefit that has beyond entertainment. But the insidious part of social media is that when we don't take time to connect with ourselves, with what our mission is, our narrative is, the stories that we want to be living, we take on these default stories. Sometimes this even leads to comparison. We look at people on social media and we all don't represent the full picture of who we are and what our lives are like. I'm not taking pictures of when I'm sitting zoned out trying to do work, but instead I'm staring out at some birds outside. You don't see that. You don't see pictures of the times when I'm really emotional because I need to go in and I need to work with myself before I can share the experience with you. But by the time I share the experience with you, I'm already out of the experience. So social media, we all know that it's a facade to some extent. And when we invest in those facades, it's easy to start thinking, despite what we know, that those things are real, that that's actually how somebody's life is, that they are that beautiful all the time, that they are that wise and thoughtful and accomplished and hanging out with the right people all the time. But it's just not true. And even if we know that it's not true, if we spend our time investing in those stories, that belief starts to seep in like this nasty little disease, and we get to a point where we are comparing ourselves to a reality that doesn't exist. And we think that we should be like that person. We should be more like the people we're following. Why aren't we going to cool clubs, hanging out with awesome people, creating music all the time, and looking very artsy? Number one, that's not a reality for that person. So it just doesn't exist. Number two, that level of comparison doesn't add anything to your life. You're holding yourself up to not only a standard that doesn't exist, but a standard that might not be relevant to you at all. So, the reason I take breaks from social media is both because I want to show that I can stop the addiction, but also because I need to reground in who I am. What am I about? What am I trying to accomplish? Things that I have decided, not that I'm trying to accomplish because I'm comparing myself to the image of somebody else and what they're doing. I could look at Broadway stars all day long. I'm such a theater nerd, you guys, and feel like that should be my life. Why am I not there? Those kinds of thoughts, that kind of rumination, it doesn't help my life at all. I didn't study theater. Well, I sort of did, but I didn't go into the profession of theater. If I were to step away from social media and look at it with a critical eye, I realize I don't even actually want to live that life. Why am I holding myself to that standard? And I think one of the reasons is because we get ourselves in this headspace of taking in all this information and not having our own grounding off of which we can judge that information and realize that, okay, this is helpful for me and it's helping me on my path. And this is not helpful because I'm not actually investing in that, even if it's something that interests me. I'm not on that path. When we are not stable in who we are, social media easily pulls us in all these different directions, and there is no way out except to remove yourself from the temptation of all those other images and really decide, who am I? What's my narrative? What am I after? And what do I need to do, Laura, to take steps to accomplish those goals? Not what somebody else has done, because my journey is inherently going to be different. So I think, again, social media is great. I think it's easy to sit and consume all day long and not create. Whether you're a creative or not, creating could be, you are a writer, and so creating is important, but it could also be this aspect of creating who you are in your life, the kind of person you want to be, how you want to be interacting, what kind of person do you want to be for other people? How do you want to relate to yourself? These types of creations are all things that take thought, they take time, and they take effort. And so you need to take a moment to step away from social media to invest in yourself. And I think that the best way to do that is actually to take a break, to take a little hiatus, whether it's even just one day. For some people, that's radical. Could be a full weekend, could be a couple days. Whatever makes sense to you, start taking those baby steps to build in time without social media, time without taking on other people's stories, their own creations, and starting with you first. Remember, you have the power to create your own life. All right, explorers, thank you so much for exploring this with me today. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you need time away from social media? Do you find that the benefits outweigh the negatives? Let me know down below. You can totally disagree with me. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe so we can go deeper together, and I'll see you next time.
Don't want no other.